pressure on Tunisia's regime has been getting steadily worse.
You're looking at scenes that are making history right now in Egypt, and many analysts saying perhaps even in the whole Arab world.
An uprising in Libya against the 42-year rule of Muammar Gaddafi appears to be widening.
Welcome back to State of the Union. Tensions are high in Iran. A massive crackdown is underway.
These are scenes that many in the West would hardly imagine of a country led by a popular, progressive, U.S.-educated king with strong economic and political ties to the developed world.
Demonstrations are continuing in Iraq after several service strikes and the decline in security. These new demonstrations are against corruption.
In Yemen, riots continued for a fifth day between thousands of pro- and anti-government demonstrators demanding the country's US-allied president step down.
But the actual protest will take place today, later today, in Manama, the capital. For the moment, we have no idea of how many people will show up.
We have been hearing, of course, these reports that some of the Saudi authorities have opened fire on some protesters before this day of rage.
Well, in Syria, the president there has promised to consider reforms after a week of violent protests in the southern city of Deraa.
I'm witnessing what is happening in the Middle East and North Africa with great joy. I think finally people are uprising, but they raised in the past, we shouldn't think that these were spontaneous uprising. There have been political struggle in the past. In Egypt, for more than 10 years, people were resisting. Since the 2000s, since the Intifada in Palestine, you had the biggest social movement in Egypt since the Second World War. In Tunisia also, you had political struggle, universities being centers of resistance. So I definitely looking at with great joy and of what is happening in the Arab world as a whole.
It's I feel very proud, optimistic, afraid, worried, a lot of mixed feelings together. But the conclusion is regaining self-confidence, breaking the wall of fear. Is actually we are like any other people. Huh? We can do revolutions, we can change things. We are empowered, if that would, empowered.
Basically, because I've been in touch with the civil rights activists in North Africa, such as April 6th, and what I've found out about these movements in Middle East and North Africa, I think it's such a nationalist movement that they all want a secular government, and they're really fed up with the corrupted government.
Okay, ideally speaking, I really hope that people will achieve their rights and their full power as in any democratic state. But actually I think that democracy requires kind of experience or training, and could be dangerous, because when you have strong political ideology, it could be really dangerous. So I really hope that within a long time they will achieve this status, but it's hard.
Revolution at this century, it's more like evolution within the society structure. And I think we've seen quite a lot of history that I think from what I've perceived is every 30 years there's going to be a tsunami of revolutions in different parts of the region of the world. So.
It has to be in a short time. It should be, unfortunately, depending on a mass of people, and a lot of people agreeing on the same thing, which is changing the power structure. So it can be complete unless there is a lot of people who are agreeing to change the regime and they actually change it. That means the whole power structure in one way or another.
Revolution is also about different reasons for uprising, putting an end, for example, to an authoritarian regime, a corrupt regime, a regime that was serving foreign interest, imperialist interest, like in Egypt, Tunisia, and different other countries?
Well, revolution to me means a radical a radical change in within the institutional and political environment of a society. I think it's something strong, or let's say stronger than a protest. For me, it requires a really change within the society or the institutional environment.
Democracy, well, by the definition, I don't like pure democracy because it's not good. But democracy within the society, I like it because it's all social freedom. That's what it means to me, that people are allowed to do freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom to think, which we don't have it in lots of countries at the moment. That's what I call democracy.
Democracy, in my mind, what is democracy? It represents different kinds of rights. It's not only about being able to gather to elect your representative. It's also about social rights, being able to go to school, to have free education, to be able to have a free health system. So democracy is a global system, is a global, I understand democracy as a global understanding, from democratic rights to social rights as well.
I would define it as the participation of people to the political life of a country. Participation for me means free elections, freedom of information, freedom to express, freedom to organize in political parties, and yeah.
We need to have consensus, and that means we need all of the voices to be heard. And we need to recognize the diversity of different democratic experiments. It's not only one type, it's not only the American colored democracy. So, to be honest, I think it can be much more.
Where do I see Syria at the end of this year? I don't really know. There have been few demonstrations. The regime has reacted to what is happening all over the Arab world by arresting activists and trying to prevent any kind of demonstrations. Syria, I think, unfortunately, at the end of the year will be the same.
That's a very nobody can really predict, but I think we are still in that transition period. So in one way or another, we need to go through a new constitution, new parliament, new elections. So we deconstruct the old regime, and we need to build a new glorious regime.
Well, I hope I see a democratic parliamentary government in Iran.
What do you see in 20 years?
20 years? Well, I hope I see my people, they're free. That's it. That's what I hope to see. That's it.
it's very difficult in a so short time to achieve peace and democracy within different states like Libya or Egypt or other states in the Middle East or North Africa. But, however, I hope that they will achieve democracy as we have in the West, somewhere in the West.
It's very bad for my government. I haven't food, I haven't anything. Me and my children, I will die today.